you're going to see more speed out of these. It's going to go a little bit faster, and it's going to go faster more consistently. The first thing you'll notice about the Hot Metal line is there's a third one. It's expanded, it's grown. And that's a direct result of fitting. That's a direct result of what we've learned from our shaft optimizer. We've learned that there's a number of players who don't fit the modern day distance spec that a lot of clubs are designed to. So not only do we make big improvements across the board of what the JPX technology is, but that added model and that change in spec is going to allow that fitter just another lever to make sure you're dialing people in perfectly. I'm going to grab one of each of these. I'm going to grab a Hot Metal Pro, and a Hot Metal High Launch. I'll talk about each of these, and it's cool because the technology story, it's the same across the board. They all feature our new Nickel Chromoly. Our previous Hot Metal, our 921 Hot Metal and Hot Metal Pro, were the hottest we've ever done. They are as thin as we've ever been able to go because of the chromoly which we were using. Nickel Chromoly really ups that because this is 35% stronger than the previous. Actually, when we were designing it, this is the first iron that we've ever designed where our first prototype was illegal. It was too hot. So it's funny because that's something that you hear people say a lot. Oh, we started too hot, then we came back. But you don't hear that on the iron side very often. On the iron side, to be so thin, we were close to 0.85 COR originally, which again, goes beyond the governing body's limits. So we actually, with this Nickel Chromoly, we're able to go thinner. We actually had to thicken it up from the original, but we were able to go extremely thin over a massive area. Chromoly has been a great material for us that has allowed us to design a golf club that delivers a ton of speed, but at the same time it's very customizable, very custom fittable. We can make sure you get it dialed into your proper loft and lie because it's a lot more malleable than a standard high COR material. So all of these feature that new Nickel Chromoly that's 35% stronger than the previous version. They all feature what we call our unitized cup face design, which means actually behind this face, there's a thin area that goes 360 degrees around that's going to deliver ball speed and a huge trampoline for very consistent speed on all three of these models. Also, we dialed in our V chassis to make sure that the feel is phenomenal on them. Yes, it's a hot golf club, but it's hot and solid at the same time. It's a Mizuno version of hot. It still feels solid. We did that with the V chassis as well as the ribs that you can actually see underneath the top line that reinforce it. All of those are going to help deliver a golf ball that just launches. It's going to spin, it's going to have a ton of speed, and then the specs are going to dial in how it fits you. The Hot Metal is the middle one of this family. It's the very traditional, slightly oversized head, slightly thicker top line, slightly thicker sole. The Hot Metal Pro is the player's version of that. Same ball speed, same distance, thinner top line, thinner sole, less offset. Hot Metal High Launch is on the other end of that. Yes, there's people who just need it to launch a little bit higher and to come a little bit steeper, but there's also a lot of players who have just seen their speed diminish over the years. And that's a player who's been forced to go from kind of a distance club to what's traditionally known as a super game improvement, an overly big, overly large, oftentimes integrated with hybrid type set that they don't necessarily want. With Hot Metal High Launch, we now have a model that fits the Hot Metal technology, but delivers that added speed and spin for a player who just wants that added stopping power because of lack of speed. Game improvement irons have become nothing more than distance irons. It's become a simulator battle to see how far these golf clubs will go. And ultimately that leads to a lot of clubs that come in too shallow and don't have much stopping power. Now with this filled out line of JPX Hot Metal, we have a golf club that has the proper amount of stopping power for what you and your swing DNA delivers at impact. We have the High Launch that's going to go higher and come in steeper with a little bit more spin. We have the Hot Metal that's going to come in a little bit shallower but still deliver plenty of spin. And then the Hot Metal Pro for if you need a little bit thinner to look at a dress. We see a lot from fitting and from playing with other golfers to recognize certain trends, but to be able to quantify it is a whole nother thing. Shaft optimizers allowed us to quantify the number of players that need that added spin, and we've seen it at close to 50%. Our shaft optimizer data has shown that when you look at average angles of attack and average shaft lean, players are delivering these distance irons with too little effective loft. As a result of that, we see a lot of players with irons that are coming in too shallow. So as a result, this new Hot Metal family is going to find the perfect one for you to give you the most distance, but also the most stopping power.